You know, to me it seems like one of the big questions about self-publishing is the whole difference between technology and marketing. In other words, we get wrapped up in technology because now technology makes things possible. So now I'm a writer, I am sitting at my computer, I have a finished book manuscript on my hard drive. Technology has now made it possible for me to, quote unquote, publish that book in like about an hour. You know, for instance, I can upload it to the Kindle store and the next day it'll be on sale. But there's a big difference between what technology empowers us to do and, you know, strategies that will actually end up being successful. Because, let's face it, if I publish a book to the Kindle store, who cares? Nobody even knows. That's not publishing to me. I mean, publishing is to bring it to the public. If only me and my 6 friends and my mother know about it, then I think there's something lacking there. So my first question for the panel is about strategies. It's not about technology to me. I mean, technology has always been a background thing, and technology is disrupting this industry, but we still need some kind of strategy. And so I'm the author sitting there, I can upload my book, or I can send it to a print-on-demand vendor, or if I'm really ambitious and I think I know what I'm doing, I could get a short-run book printer and pay them a few $1,000 and get some copies of my book. But what strategy can a self-publisher use to actually make that successful? And the success might be selling a lot of books, it might be getting the word out about ideas, programs, or initiatives, causes that I'm in favor of. It could be political, it could be save the world. It doesn't really matter how you define it, but success means getting a lot of people, that book in front of a lot of people, whether it's for monetary reasons or otherwise. So I'm curious from you people who know a lot of authors, or Alan who's done a lot of this himself, what strategies are actually working for self-publishers in that crucial thing about getting the word about their book out?
Yes, that's very true. Uploading the book on Amazon is the easiest part. From there, it's not going to sell very many copies if you don't go out and start selling it. And so it's very important to, as writers, especially you're kind of working on your own, and then it's hard for people to go out and start talking, but you're going to have to start networking. So just like anything else, you have to be like your own publicist, basically. So you have to start talking to people, you have to start talking to blogger reviews. A strategy that's been very successful for me is building a mailing list. A lot of authors do not build a mailing list. I mean, it's so easy with using a blog platform like WordPress to, you can have a mailing list opt-in form on your blog in like 5 seconds, very easy to do, and just start building that mailing list. Give something away for free so people can sign on to your list, and then you can tell them when you have new books out, or if you're doing reviews or other things. But you need to start building. No one's going to talk about your book at first. You need to do it yourself, and so you can't just stay in your author shell. You need to break out a little bit, because if not, you're not going to sell very many books. One of the big strategies that I really suggest that the authors don't do is building a mailing list.
Great idea.
So what I think, being in traditional publishing, is that it's really the same thing. You have to have the same strategies. So the first thing you want to do as an author is have a platform. When we look at a new author, that's one of the first things we evaluate. Do they have a platform? Do they have a business that revolves around their book? Do they have programs or keynote speeches or speaking engagements that already incorporate their book? Is a book going to, increase their platform? And that's what we're looking to do. And again, the niche, we publish a lot of niche books with first-time authors, but we will publish them because they're on the NSA circuit. They're doing big speaking engagements. They have a big database of clients that they work with, which leads to the possibility of like corporate sales. And now with the onset and the whole transition to online marketing and media, that gives a self-published author, and I think that's why there's such an increase in self-publishing, a pathway directly to readers. And that's what's changing. It used to be that there was all these pathways that had to be led by the publisher, so the book distribution channel, the review copy channel, the media. So now, though, everything is switched. And with blogging and with the uprise of online marketing, you can now do peer-to-peer marketing so that you're marketing directly to the reader. And that's where a self-published author, I think, can make really big inroads. So having an established platform, whether it's a business, services, whatever you do, building your book around that. Also having other types of products. We do a ton of assessments. So if your work involves some kind of helpful tips or that types of things, any kind of assessments are good that go along with your product. And building a strong website, you have to have a strong website. So, and those are all the same things we look at in a traditionally published author. And that's when we decide, we decide collaboratively as an entire company if we're going to accept a project or not. And so we all look at those elements. So I'll give my input from a publicity standpoint, and then marketing will chime in, and production too. But it's really the same, I think.
So what I've seen working really well are blogs, but not just the blog, but you start with the blog because that's what's going to make your website. So you're talking about websites. It's what's going to make your website go from a static website to a dynamic website. The thing about every book today is it's being searched online. If you're wanting to be found, so every author and their book has to be found. Whatever the topic is, and I don't care whether you're writing about fiction or nonfiction, people are searching. Your readers, your potential readers are searching for you online, and they have to find you with keywords. And so the blog is what's going to provide the keywords. And so if you're blogging, those keywords you're using, and you can use them organically. You don't even hardly have to know what they are. But if you're looking at the themes in your novel, or if you're looking at the topics you're writing about in your nonfiction, and you're using those in your blog, then you're going to begin to have your blog and your website rise up in the search engines, and your book is going to be found. So you need to be blogging. And along with that, if you're doing a blog tour or a virtual book tour, then you're getting other people with their blogs, hopefully blogs that might be more popular than yours, have more readers than yours. They're going to be putting your content, your information about your book on their blogs, and their readerships might be bigger than yours. So your information about your book is going out to a wider audience, and it's staying online for eternity. So the search engines are going to be finding that. It's there for everyone else to find, and it's a partnership with other people. So these other people are helping you and helping your book to be found. Then the other thing is that every one of those blog posts is going out and is getting shared on your social networks. So you're combining it with a social networking program. And so the authors that I see succeeding, they're using all of this together. But you go beyond that, and you then have to get off of the internet. And you have to go out and you have to meet people. And you have to speak. And you have to go to conferences. And that's what I see making you successful. Tim Ferriss, that's how he became successful. He not only blogged and he not only did guest blog posts, but then he spent a ton of money going to every conference and meeting all the influencers that he could meet. And he formed relationships with them, and they helped him promote his book. That's how he got so successful. And I saw that happening for myself. Because I went to New York, and while I was in New York at the BEA and at Blog World Expo, I got up in every session that I attended at Blog World Expo, I asked a question. And when you get up to the microphone and you ask a question, you can say who you are, and you can say that you're the author of a book. And I got up, and I'm trying to think of the guy's name, Michael. He used to run one of the largest Christian publishing companies, and Michael Hyatt. He just published Platform. So he's giving a talk, and I get up, and I'm in the midst of my blog tour. In the midst of my blog tour, it's going on in the middle of June, and there I am, and I get up, and I start to say my name. I say, I just published a book. He starts to say, what book? And it's coming out of my mouth, how to blog a book. And he says, I just linked to your book somehow. He said, I saw 2 posts about your book. So I continued to ask my question, and he answered it, and afterwards I grabbed one of my books, which I had with me, and I went up there and I gave him a copy of my book. And he said, I saw a post about your book on Jane Friedman's blog and on one other blog, and it might have even been yours, I can't remember. But he knew my book, he knew my name, and then it turned out that he had mentioned me in a private group of his, and he then mentioned me on Twitter. He went on to mention my book another time, and I sold a ton of books because of Michael Hyatt. That's how it's done.
Wow. How'd they know? So I'm Mash. I'm the author of the iPad Publishing Guide. No. Really, I tell everybody that I talk to, so on Fast Pencil we have over 50,000 authors working on books. They have over 45,000 books being written right now on Fast Pencil. So we get a lot of questions about this same topic, you know. And the first thing I ask them is I say, you have, you know, how do you define success? And I think that is really critical. You have to ask yourself honestly, what does success mean to you and this project? Is success selling enough books to make a living and make a profit? Or is success getting this book out to a small community of people who you know, care about and you want to influence? Because depending on your answer, you're going to have a very different approach to, you know, to promoting it. The other thing is, you know, and it's been touched on here, you know, in specific ways, but it's build a community. So whether it's a specific strategy you have for building that community, which means using, you know, Twitter and Facebook and blogs and free ebook downloads and mailing lists, or if it's just what you know personally, what like invigorates you in building a community. Whatever it is, you know, just be committed to that. You know, authors tend to be solitary, you know, in their projects. You know, you like to get away and write and go into your world, and sometimes it's hard to get out of that world and think about community. So, you know, if it's specifics like Nina, you know, suggested, or writing the blog or something like that you need, like a checklist that you can check off of, I'm sure there's great books on how you can do it. But just think about what makes you happy in building a community, you know. The social networks are very, very, you know, they work really well with that. But one of the things we found with Fast Pencil was the top authors, the people who were already being published by traditional companies, and they're selling, you know, 10,000, 100,000 books, were coming to us, and they said, you know, we already have a community, and the publisher says, you know, they want, you know, they'll give us like, you know, a 15, 20% you know, royalty on our books, but we already have a community. Can we just go through Fast Pencil and, you know, you guys use your technology, you know, to produce the books and stuff for us, get us out in all the wide distribution channels as you can, and then we'll sell it to our community. And they have been hugely successful. So, I mean, community is the #1 thing. However you build it, whatever strategies you use, connect with people who are, you know, who you can have a meaningful connection with. That's not just anyone who will sign up on your email list, but people who you can have a meaningful, you know, conversation with, something that matters. And then in terms of technology, I do want to stand behind the idea that if your book is in the widest distribution channels as possible, you're going to get more eyeballs on it. So just going to Amazon and using Kindle will get you a certain amount of reach, but there is technology available that will get you on the Kindle and the Nook and the iPad in ebook format and print-on-demand format internationally throughout the world, you know, and everything like that as well. So I think that using technology is important, knowing your strategy for success, whether that is just making sure that, you know, if you just want to publish that book and give it to your kids, just be honest about that and just do that and save yourself a whole lot of headache thinking, you know, that this is going to be a bestseller, you know, if that's what really is going to fulfill your heart, you know, with that book, and then build community.